Calling to order the regular meeting of the Wheeling Plan Commission for Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Riles.
Here.
Commissioner Meyer.
Here.
Commissioner Casper.
Present.
Commissioner Sprague is here. Commissioner Smart.
Here.
Commissioner Heiken.
Here.
Chairman Johnson.
Here. Ms. Nyes, any changes to the agenda this evening?
No changes.
All right, we have no citizens' concerns and comments, obviously. So we go right to consent items. We haven't had one of those in a while. Consent item PSP MIN 240011, request for minor appearance approval for the installation of a monument ground sign for Fire Station 42 at 175 McHenry Road.
So
May I have a
moved.
motion?
Second.
Sprague and Heiken. Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Heiken.
Yes.
Commissioner Riles.
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer.
Yes.
Commissioner Casper.
Yes.
Commissioner Smart.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. And we have one item for review, PSP MIN 24-0008, request for minor appearance approval to permit changes to building facade for Hiffman Asset Management, 742 Glen Avenue. Nice.
Yes, I'll just set the scene here. They are looking for approval to change the appearance of the building facade, but they're only looking for the north and the east facades. So the west and the south are going to stay the same. And they've provided some, oh, these are existing pictures. Let me get to they provided some renderings showing what it would look like. And we specifically asked them to provide this rendering showing the east and the south corner because we weren't sure how that was going to look, you know?
Oh,
With the navy, because it's going from dark brown metal to a charcoal navy color. And then the red brick is gonna go to more of a stone color. So we specifically asked how this was gonna look. And, you know, just, there's no other way to break it. So staff was fine with this. And then here's how the north facade will look with the stone-colored brick and the charcoal blue metal and doors. And here's another angle of the northeast elevation. So I think that's really all that the project entails, and we did not have any conditions proposed.
and I assume these are the petitioners?
Correct.
Come on up. State your name and business address for the record.
Tom Murphy, Hiffman National, 1 Oak Brook Terrace, Illinois.
Thank you. And anything you want to add to what Marcy has already stated?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we have any questions. Commissioner Heiken.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. I'm a little concerned with the color break. I understand why you're not going to paint that one wall, anything at all, but the colors that you have in my book don't match the brick either.
Okay. Well, a couple things. When you look at the building architecturally, approximately 60% of the north and east elevations have a metal panel
Yeah.
detail to it,
Yeah.
right? The amount of exposed brick really on the north and east elevations is limited to that lower 40%, but you see here, a lot of it is infilled by windows and dock doors. This is the business end of the property, where the back side of the building or the south side and west elevations of the building are literally the back of the building in the non-business end. And they're full masonry, full height masonry. So To address your question, you have an issue over the exact color selected or just where the break is at?
I understand why you don't want to do the non-business side. I get that. That makes perfectly good sense. It's just that what you are changing doesn't match those bricks, in my book, and that's the way I feel about it.
Okay.
Have you thought about matching those bricks to make it look a little bit more, make it flow a little bit better?
What area would we be matching?
The business side, instead of cream and blue, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't go with the brick that you're not going to paint. I know it breaks off and you really don't see it, but you do see it as you're coming down the street.
Well, you know, the ownership of the asset is looking to differentiate itself. This property's gone through several ownership periods. The new ownership period is looking to bring more life to the building and make it look more modern in appearance.
Okay.
In addition to the expenses to perform this work, there are other expenses that they have to take on to re-tenant the building, which I believe is sitting approximately 60% vacant right now.
Okay.
So, you know, I really haven't had a discussion with them on their long-term vision with respect to the remaining pieces of the building. But to make an immediate impact, these elevations seem to make the most sense, not for the architectural reasons that I mentioned, but also this is the area that the tenants are going to come and visit the building and see.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Appreciate your insight.
Commissioner Smart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening.
Good evening.
The south side of the building is visible from the street.
Correct.
And I drove by, it's very, very large. You don't want to paint that the same color you're painting the other side?
No, not at this time.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening.
Hi.
The way I see it, besides what you're offering, there's a couple more options. I don't know if you've considered any of them. One would be possibly just painting the metal facade and leaving the brick alone. And then the other one is there is a seam in the brick down by the fenced-in area right before that vent that goes over the roof line. I don't know if it would look any better to bring that color down to that point, just so that when you're coming down Glen, it would all look the same. But those were two other options that I thought are viable for this.
The first option that you recommended, we did discuss internally. And, you know, the overall, to enhance the overall aesthetics of the building, it made more sense to move away from the brown because there's only so many colors that work with the current brick. We felt that the charcoal blue really spoke to both types of colors that you see with the existing south elevation and then with the north and east elevations, the stone color. So really, you know, to move away from the brown and to move into something that's a little bit more modern in appearance, we decided to do both, or we'd like to do both. Regarding your second alternative, I don't believe that is an alternative that we had discussed. You know, one of the other things that we were discussing when we were meeting with painting contractors and looking at this asset is all the overhead electrical and being able to safely work underneath there with, you know, ladders, scaffolding, whatnot. Also along that elevation, there's multiple transformers that we would have to work around, ground-based transformers feeding power to the building.
Yeah, well, those wouldn't be in the scope if you just went down to that seam. It would be right before them.
I understand, right before the enclosure, or the
Correct.
perceived enclosure.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, that was not something that we had discussed. We felt that, frankly, leaving that elevation as is would be suitable. It does back up to a truck dock for a neighboring building. It's not like it's fronting any residential.
But it's very visible when you come down Glen from the south, and there will be a clash between the brown brick and what you're proposing to do.
Understood.
So we're trying to come up with something that would soften that clash.
Well, certainly, I'm just trying to remember where there's an expansion joint, because we would like to terminate it where there's a vertical expansion joint
Yeah,
for the
that's-
masonry.
There's one right just barely inside the front of that fence.
Okay,
Right before that vent that goes over the roof,
sure.
there's one right there.
There's a vertical expansion joint
Yes.
there? Okay.
So I don't know what the rest of the commission, how they feel, but maybe you could take it down to there as an alternative.
Okay. I believe there's one that's approximately 15 feet off the corner of the building.
Yeah, I see that there.
And I didn't know if that would satisfy,
That-
you're
You
looking to
still
take a
see
little
the
bit
rest of
further.
that when you're coming down Glen.
Okay.
Well, that's all I have. If
I
you
think
want to
maybe
bring
let
that up.
everyone else comment and then take a
poll on
poll.
that or something.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Casper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any comments or any questions, and I don't have any strong feelings one way or the other. So pending comments from the other two commission members, I think I would tend to take the recommendation of the staff on this matter.
Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can appreciate wanting to have your facade, updated. I think the heartburn that I have is just that southeast corner because of the visibility, and there is such a distinct difference between your, downing and the charcoal blue, especially at that corner. I would certainly advocate for, extending that a bit along the south. I think it would just give you, again, just a better look from an appearance standpoint, but that would be my only comment. Thank you.
Okay. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Regarding your recommendation? What color would you recommend or would you like to see? And would it be the two colors? Because it's all the masonry, so would you like to see the stone? Would you like to see a combination of the charcoal and us carry a line across as if there were metal panel?
I would just opine and say that that downing gray color that you have on the stone masonry on the other sides, if you were to, extend that paint color, there would at least be some consistency.
Okay.
Commissioner Riles.
Thank you. Yeah, I just agree with, excuse me, everyone else. I mean, it just has to have a uniform look, consistent. So I'm in agreement with everyone else, and I actually think, is this related to cost savings? I mean, you said that, you have to do some more work inside. Are you, and I use the term loosely, cutting corners to try to focus on other areas of the building?
No, I wouldn't say we're cutting corners. Again, the approach was that, this is the areas that we were looking to address were the business end of the property, because the south elevation and west elevation were 100% masonry wall, that we thought that was consistent and it would be appropriate to leave it as is. So I don't think we're, in essence, cutting corners. There is other capital that the owner is investing into this property. This property was previously occupied, the whole property was previously occupied by a company that was performing toner recycling inside the asset. So there's a significant amount of work that they have to do inside the building to prepare it also for tenancy. So there's, again, I believe the building's only is 40% leased. And their idea is to retain the existing tenant, but also attract new tenant to fill the rest of the building.
So from a layman's perspective, it appears as if you are kind of like not putting emphasis on the outside structure as much as you want to focus on the inside interior?
No, I think we are. The investment on just these two elevations, because it goes beyond painting, you have to prepare the surfaces. So before we perform any work to paint the masonry, so the brick, we're going to have to perform repairs to it because we don't want to have to go back later. So it's not just a painting component, but there is some masonry tuck pointing, if you will,
Sure.
that should occur.
Yeah.
I don't recall offhand the condition of the south elevation. From what I remember, it was in fair condition to good, between fair and good. So, that was another reason to not have to paint this elevation.
No, I hear it, but it from a layman's perspective, to me, that's what it sounds like.
Understood.
Let's not focus on this area, let's concentrate here.
Understood.
But I thank you and I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. The top cap that goes around the whole thing, is that currently dark brown or what?
I
seems
believe
to
at
be
one
very
time
dark up there.
it was brown. It's pretty inconsistent, the coloring of it, just because of how it's oxidized over time. But it was, I believe, a dark brown, yes.
So were you going to paint that as well,
Yes, that would be.
just on the two sides? Is that what you were planning, or?
Are you talking about the metal coping at the
Yeah,
roof?
the coping,
Yes, it would be, the metal coping at the roof would get painted.
all the way around?
No, only at the elevations. So if we were to be, if it were required that we take the painting down the corner to the area that was recommended, we would leave the metal coping as is, the brown, because that color would be suitable for the stone.
But on the two facades that you want to paint, you're going to change that coping to the charcoal blue?
Well, the metal coping's integrated with the panel wall, the metal panel
Okay.
wall system.
All right, well, we seem to have some contention about the south wall. I'm afraid that if they go with the light gray, it's gonna be too much white. No? So I'm okay with leaving that untouched, and I don't like painting brick anyways. And you said you will be treating the brick and doing a top-notch job on the brick and the siding?
Yes.
Because we want to,
Yes, there's work that's going to be done where there was previous signage, where those sections of the metal panel wall, they were just, the perforations were caulked, and those sections of the metal panel wall are being replaced, correct?
No, we're gonna take out the bolt and then they're gonna patch and then.
They'll patch it with metal and paint it, yes. And then the mason, like I said, the masonry tuck pointing would occur on the areas that require tuck pointing. In addition, we're also caulking the perimeter, window perimeters, the masonry openings between the windows and window framing and masonry openings. So it's, all this work has to happen at once because you only
Sure.
get one opportunity to paint.
all right, well, since we have some discussion on the paint, I guess we'll have to take a poll of the group. Do we want them to continue with the Downing stone color on the south side up to that seam where the transformers are? Yes or no? Commissioner Heiken?
Yes.
Smart.
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague?
Yes.
Commissioner Casper?
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer?
Yes?
And Commissioner Riles?
Yes.
And I'm going to say no, but I lose. So,
So then we need to add a condition.
What about the foundation wall?
Well, that's going to stay the same on the other side, right?
Yeah, it would just be the,
It's not really visible on the other side because there's a planting bed.
Feel like you'll kind of see it.
That's below the docks, yes.
yeah. No, I,
Leave it.
just a brick.
Okay.
So, the brick, on the south facade up to the,
Yeah, I don't know what the measurement is there, but
yeah, what do we
So
call, up
it's
to the
approximately
break line?
100 foot.
Well, I'm gonna
Yes.
say up to the break line.
I walked it off.
Shall be painted in Downing stone to match the north. So the brick on the south facade up to the break line, I'm gonna say break line / fence. Or en-
Expansion joint.
or enclosure.
Eastern face of the fence, or, right? That's where we're
Yeah.
stopping at
Yeah, eastern
the
fence.
eastern side of that fence?
Okay, so
Yes.
the brick on the south facade up to the break line / eastern fence shall be painted in Downing stone to match the north and east facades.
Okay.
that's most of what is visible on Glen, so.
Also, just for an FYI, if you need to go inside that fence area where the transformers are, it's all enclosed. It's perfectly safe to be in and amongst that.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so,
I only feel confident saying that because I worked for 37 years with ComEd, so.
so that's the only condition we have then, right?
Yep.
All right, so with that condition, I hear a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Casper and Meyer.
Casper Meyer. Commissioner Casper.
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer.
Yes.
Commissioner Riles.
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Smart.
Yes?
Commissioner Heiken.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the final decision. You don't have to go to the village board. I'll send you a letter tomorrow. You don't need permits to paint. So this is kind of the final approval.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you
Have
for your
a good evening.
flexibility.
All right. Approval of minutes of the regular meeting of March 13th, 2024, including the findings of fact for docket number PSU 24-0003.
So moved.
Second?
Sprague and Smart. Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Smart.
Yes.
Commissioner Riles.
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer.
Yes.
Commissioner Casper.
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. Other business. Ms. Nyes, anything?
Nope, I don't have anything.
Commissioner Riles?
Nothing, thank you.
No new TV shows or anything?
I'll keep you abreast. Yes.
Commissioner Meyer?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Casper?
Yeah, I noticed something the other evening. There is a restaurant near Dundee and Milwaukee, and some of us were at their grand opening, where it's a fusion of Mexican and Asian.
Savory plate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did a double take like that, and they're now also offering something called Brown's Chicken.
Yes.
And they have a
Yeah,
great
that
big
was-
sign up on the building.
They've
Yeah,
been
that was-
offering it
that's
for a
what-
while.
I did not know that.
People, yeah, it was kind of a word of mouth thing, and they
Yeah.
finally put a sign up.
I didn't even know Brown's Chicken was still in business because I don't
Yeah.
know where there's any other location. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, she actually owned a store in Northbrook, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I think maybe that one closed.
Oh, it
so she
did.
brought it.
I
A while
think
ago.
it was closed.
It was, yeah, so she came here. And she owned the restaurant, the other restaurant here, so she just brought the chicken over.
Excuse me, I do have something.
Yes.
I noticed in our neighborhood, forgive me, are they painting the fire hydrants white?
That's the pre-coat, I think, because
Primer.
I saw another neighborhood, they were all white, and then 2 days later, they were all red.
Okay, because
So-
I've seen 3 or 4 in our neighborhood.
Yeah, I think that's just the primer that they put on it.
Okay.
I noticed that too. Commissioner Sprague, anything?
Just happy Easter on Sunday.
Okay. Commissioner Smart?
Got some good news from the community.
Well, please share.
Wheeling High School has a mock trial team. They went down to state. Out of 50 schools, they placed in the top 8 for the first time ever, with the likes of Stevenson, Maine South, Whitney Young, De La Salle, Timothy Christian. I've volunteered with them for years, and so has Joe Vito, village trustee. Kids did just great this year.
Awesome.
Just great.
Well, they
So
had
some good news.
Sounds like they had some good coaching.
No, they worked really, really hard, so kudos to them.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Heikkinen?
Nothing for me, thank you.
All right. I just had a question, Marcy, on, it's been a while since we had any consent items. Is it normal to have conditions on consent items? Okay.
If anyone has any comments on them before the meeting, they can always pull it off the consent.
Right. It wasn't anything worth pulling off, but usually consent items are just
Yeah, yeah,
so
it's
cut
still
and
okay.
dried, there's no conditions, but, okay. All right, if nobody has anything else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. I'll give that to Commissioner Smart. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.